Right, today we're going to talk about the D.O.E email, the D.O.E email, the dynamic objection email. We don't really need that second, that first E, do we? But we've got it because it just looks better, the D.O.E email. This is something that you can put into your automated funnels that I guarantee is going to give you at least, shouldn't use the word guarantee, but you know, what I've seen, at least a 12 to 18% lift in your overall sales from the funnel. In reality, much more than this if you actually pay attention to the lessons that you learn from this. I wanted to do something a bit more detailed today because I have a habit of talking a lot about sort of strategy and kind of long-term things and principles, but we're going to do some detail today, and this is amazing. We implemented this into our Spanish paid funnels recently, our Spanish language products, and it really just transformed what we were doing. I don't remember where I first came across it. I feel like I invented this, but no one's really invented it. That's nothing new. So I give credit to whoever came up with this initially. Anyway, I'm teaching it to you today. It has to do with objections. Now, objections are all of the reasons that people don't buy from you, and people always underestimate just how many different objections that there actually are. Often we kind of look at these things through what we would object to. People have all kinds of crazy objections that you can't really imagine. And salespeople who talk face-to-face with clients get really good at this because you get this kind of very kind of like direct feedback. You can try and sell something and someone says no for XYZ reason. And you can either then kind of adapt on the fly or you can tell them reasons why they should buy. When you're doing stuff face-to-face, it gives you a really good way to learn what your prospects' objections are. But us, as internet people, we tend to kind of hide behind emails a little bit, don't we? At the very least, if you are a kind of trained marketer, if you studied business and marketing, then what you should be doing is you should know what your objections are, and what you probably do is you work those into your sales copy. You have sections on the sales page which are designed to address objections. Maybe you even have emails which are kind of systematically break down objections. If you're a copywriter or you use copywriters, that's exactly what you should have, and that's cool. The problem is so online automated funnels, they tend to be very passive experiences. You've got people who are just sitting behind their screen reading your emails in amongst 20 other things, and there's nothing to really drag them out of that sort of passivity into really engaging with what you've got. This is what the D.O.E email does really well. It's like a hybrid where we're taking the best of the passive stuff and the best of the active stuff and kind of creating this. That's an explosion there, an explosion of energy, so that people not only have their objections answered, but are also kind of really engaging with you. There's energy brought to the process, and where there is energy, money soon follows, and that's when good things happen. So here's how it works. You're familiar with a why didn't you buy email, I'm sure. This is what you send after a launch, asking people, hey, why didn't you buy? Any particular reason? Just curious. I'd love to know. Really good email to send. But what we're going to do is tweak this a little bit. And we are going to change it from why didn't you buy email to the following. Now, in case you're not familiar with this, a why didn't you buy email tends to solicit an open response, right? It's like, tell me all the reasons you didn't buy, or the main reason you didn't buy. Then you get a bunch of replies back, you filter through them, you discover what the objections are. Well, let's assume that you already know what the objections are. You've done your homework, you've done these why didn't you buy emails, and there are, say, 4 objections that have come to the fore. A lot of them are always the same: time, money, resources. Those are the reasons people don't do anything. But let's say you've got a couple of broad objections and then a couple of more specific ones. What you're going to do is you're then going to put those objections into an email, and you're going to say, here's objection 1, here's objection 2, here's objection 3 and 4. And you're going to say, hey, I noticed you didn't buy. Can you tell me why not? Please click on the link below that matches the reason why you didn't buy. So number 1 might be, don't have enough time. Number 2 might be, it's too expensive, etc., etc. And then for each of these 4 objections, you are going to have an offer that relates directly to it. All right, so bear with me here. So let's say that number 1, the reason is that I don't have enough time to do it. So what you might do then is create an offer that addresses that. So, for example, one of the main reasons that people don't enroll in our language programs is because they're quite big, intensive programs. People say, I don't have enough time, Ollie, to do this. It sounds like a lot. So we actually created a brand new offer, which was basically like, it was an offer where they could get started in Spanish for in only 10 minutes a day, right? So the objection is, I don't have enough time, so we created a product which is basically 10 minutes a day for 10 days, and it costs $10. So anyone who says, well, I don't have time, I can then go back to them and say, well, you've got 10 minutes a day, haven't you? Let me show you how you can learn Spanish in only 10 minutes a day. And the idea here is like it's an introductory product, which then obviously leads to an upsell to the main things once they have experienced it, enjoy it, and want the next step. And so what we've done is we've got the objection here, not enough time. We create an offer that's specific for that objection, and then we stick it on a landing page. So what happens then is that when you send out that email saying, hey, why did you choose not to enroll in the program? They click the link that says, I just don't have enough time. We then take them directly to a landing page where there's a video from me, super casual, super friendly, saying, yeah, I understand, it can be difficult when you don't have enough time, but let me ask you this. If you had just 10 minutes, if you could learn in just 10 minutes a day, strictly 10 minutes a day, would you do it? You would? Okay, cool. Here's an offer. And then that sends them then to that product. All right. And you do exactly the same thing with the other objections. And so you end up with this, this sort of setup where you've got that one email leading to 3 or 4 different offers that correspond exactly to the reasons they're not buying. So for example, another one was, it's too expensive. So we said, okay, well, how about a 12-month payment plan? I don't like to offer payment plans normally, but if someone is not buying at all because it's too expensive, then a payment plan makes sense because that's a customer you wouldn't otherwise have. All right. So what happens is, from the experience of the person on the other end, of the prospect, is a very energetic, dynamic one, because they've received the email. They probably want your thing anyway. You've asked them why they didn't buy. They've clicked on the link, and then they've seen a personalized video from you and an offer that addresses that thing. So can you see how that is very much like this kind of face-to-face sales experience? It's very interactive. There's energy around it. There's momentum. And where there's energy and momentum, money follows. So that's it really. I wanted to show you an example of exactly what that looks like. So this is an email from me. Again, we want to keep, the key here, this might sound like a lot of work. We want to keep it very simple. I did all of this for our funnel in like a day. And yeah, so this is what the email looks like. Just a quick request for help. Yeah, I've got this stuff. You didn't enroll. I'd like to know why. Here are the 4 links. Right, I'm busy and I don't have time. The cost of enrolling was too high, etc., etc. Those are the links. They click the links and they go to these really simple landing pages here with very unattractive freeze frames of me taken. And so they watch the video, and then there are these buttons on the video with the offer. You see how simple that is? Now, so that alone, what it's going to do is, inside your funnel, it's going to make it so a whole bunch of people who would not otherwise buy, because they've got these reasons why not, and they're not engaging with the process, buy. And even if you've got them on payment plans, even if it's a cheaper product, when you have customers through the door, what happens is that many of those will then go on to to purchase other products, to work with you in different ways, especially if you have built a proper ecosystem of products, like I outlined in my case study, which you can find on my website. And so that by itself is going to give you a lift. It's going to get you more customers and more revenue through the door. But the thing is, if you really pay attention to what happens here, what you'll probably find is one or two of these 4 offers is really going to take off. And what you can do then is actually start to redesign your funnel around that. And that's exactly what we did. So for example, one of the things that came up a lot for us, always has, is affordability. And so we decided to create a payment plan. The payment plan worked really well. And so what we decided to do was actually create an entire promotion And people don't get this immediately. They get it after, 4, 5, 6 weeks. An entire promotion around the payment plan offer. And this now actually sells really, really well for us. Another one that happened that I mentioned before was, limited time. So I just don't have enough time to start, learning a language sounds like a big deal. I don't have enough time. So we created this little 10-minute product. 10 minutes a day for 10 days for $10. It's like, you can't say no to that. If you're even in the slightest bit interested in learning, you cannot say no to that. That was so successful that we actually ended up making that into a self-liquidating offer that we put at the front end of the ads. So when someone arrives and opts in for our lead magnet on the thank you page, then we offer this $10 challenge to them on the thank you page. And so we get like a lot of these sales coming through. That starts to cover the cost of the ads. You see where this is going? So actually, by going through this exercise, at the very least, you get a bunch more customers. But really what's on the table is a huge wholesale improvement of your funnel and everything that's going on. And that's why that is so powerful. And like I said, if you do all of these things at the lower end, you're going to get this kind of lift on your funnel, but potentially a lot more. We got significantly more than that, and it's completely changed the entire funnel that we run. I think also, to be honest, we haven't done this yet, but I think it's quite likely that because these two things perform so well, the payment plan and the little 10-minute a day challenge, I think it's quite likely that over the course of the next year or so, we're actually going to go and redesign our entire offer flow to incorporate these things, because it's just going to bring so many more customers through the door and end up with, obviously a lot increased revenue as a result. So I hope you find that useful. If you are not subscribed to the newsletter, then you should be. ollyrichards.co. If you go there, you'll get a case study, which is all about, it's a 117-page case study, a deep dive into I call it the anatomy of a $10 million online education business. Basically, it just shows you how one of my businesses works. Head over there, check it out, and I'll see you on the newsletter.